and I could go any place. Anyway, we're coming up on drop zone. Our clothes fall, pull up 400 feet, and gave them the green light. They started, I salvoed the bundles underneath, and we had no enemy fire at this time. We got rid of the bundles in a hurry, and the crew chief come running up, all out, all out. Close the throttles, pull the nose up, kick full rudder, and man, that airplane switched ends like a hungry hog. And we were on the way out. And immediately, I think it was a 20 millimeter on top of a farmhouse that got it. And it knocked out the left engine. It might have shot a prop blade off, I don't know. But one exploded. I had to open the window in the cockpit because the smoke was so heavy. From there to the coast, we were on one engine and shaking bad. We picked up a lot of fire going out. And I got to the coast, no more enemy fire, and there's the whole United States Allied Navy. I've never seen so many boats in my life. But we were just elated that, we're out, they're not shooting them. And so heading for England, I couldn't climb over the boats. The airplane had it. So I snaked around the boats. I was blowing just a few feet off the water. But I intended to go all the way to England like that. And those anti-aircraft guns on those boats followed me every place I went. I'd go by and then they had them pointed right at me. And that was fearful. And maybe they're going to shoot us down. And it made me recall an invasion of Sicily, our squadron lost one airplane to an American destroyer. The destroyer shot him down. But the bad part about it, no one gave the order to cease fire, and they killed all but one of the crew. So friendly fire is deadly, but not this time. So we're headed for England, just maybe 100 feet above the water. The airplane's shaking bad, getting warm. And by the way, that day, D-Day +1, the weather in the Channel was terrible. I estimated the swells at 20 feet. And the next day in the Stars and Stripes periodical, they said it was more like 30 feet. But the wind, I estimated, was 30 to 40 miles an hour. And it was pretty clear that we weren't going to make it to England. The airplane's shaking so bad that you can't hardly read the instruments. The airspeed's getting slower. I'm using all the power there is. So it looked like the decision was made for me. I got to land on the water. So I told the radio operator to send an SOS and lock the key, a standard procedure. And we were trained to land how to ditch the airplane. They always told us to ditch parallel to the swells. And normally I think that's probably the best way to do it. With this strong head wind coming with the swell, if I landed parallel with swell, I'd have this tremendous crosswind. And if I landed into the swell, I'd have a much lower speed when I hit the water, and that's what I elected to do. So I just eased the power off of that one engine and let it settle. Of course, I had full flaps on there, slow it up. And we hit as slow as you can go. We hit the top of one swell, and then kind of airborne in the trough and hit the next one good and solid. The nose went underwater. And I went up and hit the windshield hard enough. I thought I might have broke it, but I didn't have I didn't have on my shoulder arm. I didn't wear it too often. It's kind of hard to reach other things in the cockpit with it all, so I didn't have it on. So, but the airplane went into that upslope with that swell. How far, I don't know. But no water came in the cockpit, and it bobbed up like a cork. So the next thing on the program is get out of here. And the overhead hatch, the escape hatch, Scott couldn't open it. And I got up there with him and both of us. I mean, we were pumped up, and we popped that thing out of there. Probably hadn't been open since the airplane was new. And we went up, me and Scott. I said, follow me. I know the captain's supposed to be the last. I said, follow me. And I was up through that hole and on the top of the airplane and helped Scott climb through, and then I helped Blake climb through. My crew chief, I think I missed telling you this. Before we took off, they decided the bundles in the cabin were so heavy, 2 men couldn't get them out. Not any good time. So an intelligence officer brought me a private dressed in khaki and no sidearm. And we always carried a sidearm, usually a 45 in a shoulder holster. There were a couple of Tommy guns in the airplane. But another thing here, we didn't wear uniforms. We wore a jumpsuit with no rank on it. I don't care what your rank on. You didn't have any rank on it. The only identification we had was dog tag. This was in case we got shot down over there, and we didn't want them. 6 of 1, half a dozen. Anyway, they brought me this guy just before time to take off to help throw the bundles out. And I talked to him and briefed him what we're going to do, and I found out he was from the quartermaster corps. He'd never been up in an airplane and was not trained for combat. And I don't think I got his name, but he was scared worse than we were. But anyway, here we are sitting in the channel in this boat riding these monster waves, and the 3 of us are up on top here, and this quartermaster soldier, private, and my crew chief were in the back, and they threw out a life raft, and Scott and Blake got in it. It was tethered, and they got down on the right wing and got in the raft. And I hollered at them. It was tethered to the airplane. everybody stayed together. And they didn't obey me at all. They cut that thing loose and they were out of sight almost instantly. And, by the way, I saw Scott was standing on the right wing and he threw away his 45 and he threw away his knife. And to this day, I have no idea why he did. I'm still puzzled why he did that. But anyway, that's the last I saw of them for a while. The quartermaster man and my crew chief were in the back, and they launched the life raft. And I'm standing up there on the top of that airplane, all alone, and I realized I don't have on a May West. What a shock. But anyway, the crew chief threw one up to me, and I put it on. And by that time, they had a life raft launch, and we're both in it. I remember hollering to them, don't jump in it, you go right through the bottom. You're supposed to jump in the water and then climb in. Anyway, I got back near the tail of the airplane, and the airplane was floating at a very nose low altitude. Tail was way up in the air. And of course, these swells was going up 20, 30 feet at a time. And I waited until we were on the bottom of the swell, thinking that would be lower. I guess it's pretty stupid too. Anyway, I had the Mae West on, and you're not supposed to inflate it until you get in the water. But I'm not a good swimmer even today. I inflated that thing. I want to make sure it worked before I used it, and I jumped off of that thing. That Mae West has straps that go under your crotch. Anyway, we climbed in. I climbed into the life raft, and it was full of holes. We wouldn't support us all. But there was enough air in there we could sit in it. Air trapped in there. We could sit in it and we were about waist deep in water. So that's the condition we were. And I don't know what happened to the airplane. You could only see it when we were both on top of a swell at one time. If one was in a trough, you couldn't see it. And we were immediately blown away from it. The wind was whistling and we're going like a sailboat across the water right towards the German Hill coast. And we all got sick, terribly seasick. And one of my companions asked me, it looked like we were going to be blown ashore. In fact, we came so close, I could see Germans running from one emplacement to another. And one of my companions asked, what do we do if we're blown ashore? Fight? I don't know. Anyway, we were in the water 4.5 hours. And a British Air Sea Rescue boat picked us up. About a 40-foot launch. These boats were donated by British civilians, and they were operated by civilians. If they had orders not to go more than no closer than 3 miles from enemy territory, and we were less than a mile by now, and he came in anyway and got it. Well, when I got on board, they gave me some dry clothes, and I asked if they had rescued anybody else, and they just picked up one man and a wife. I went down below, and Jim was there, but Blake, the radio operator, was not there. And when I asked what happened to Blake, he said in his, when they were in the raft, he began to vomit blood, and he died. Let him go overboard.